Well, my dear students, my name is Shantaram, Selection Lecturer in Mechanical Engineering, Government Polytechnic, Karwar. I am going to take a session 2 under Unit 1. So the topics covered under this session are air expansion refrigeration, cooling by throttling, and steam jet refrigeration. So first we shall take up air expansion refrigeration. So this is another method of producing cooling. So the temperature of air and other such gases can be lowered by expanding them isentropically. In this method, cooling effect is produced without changing the phase of working substance. This cooling effect is governed by the well-known thermodynamic relation. Here, here in the air expansion refrigeration, refrigerant is air, which does not change its phase, so it remains in its gaseous state only. And this can be well understood by using the thermodynamic relation. You might have remembered that for perfect gases we will use PV equal to MRT. So that equation, suppose you modify, can be written for this one isentropic process like this: T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 whole raised to gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. Here I hope these terms are known to you. T1 is initial temperature, T2 final temperature. Similarly, P1 initial temperature pressure, P2 final pressure. Gamma is a air constant. So for air, for isentropic process, gamma is equal to 1.4. That is well known to you. By substituting that gamma value in the above equation, that can be rewritten as a T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 whole raised to 2 by 7. If the air from atmospheric temperature of 15 degrees centigrade, or in terms of degree Kelvin 288, is compressed isentropically to a pressure of 5 atmosphere, its temperature will become. So you have to take a air at 288 degree Kelvin and pressure 1 atmosphere to 5 atmosphere. By substituting these parameters in the above equation and by modifying this equation, T2 is equal to T1 into P2 by P1 whole raised to 2 by 7, that's equal to 288 bracket 5 by 1 whole raised to 2 by 7. If you simplify this, you will get 456.1 Kelvin. This compressed air can be cooled down in a suitable heat exchanger without pressure loss to its original temperature of 15 degrees centigrade. So here what you have to do, both pressure and temperature of air have been raised. Now you have to cool down the air without changing its pressure. Then the arrangement for such a system is shown in the figure. So here you will find the following components. So there is one refrigerator space, compressor, heat exchanger, expander, right? Now if this cooled air is at 15 degrees centigrade and 5 atmosphere, pressure is expanded again in a suitable device to pressure of 1 atmosphere, it will give out work and its temperature will fall tremendously as shown below. So by considering all this, this can be written like this: T1 by T2 is equal to P1 by P2 whole raised to 2 by 7. Therefore T1 is equal to 288 divided by 5 by 1 whole raised to 2 by 7. That comes around 281.8 Kelvin, or in terms of degree centigrade it is a minus 91.2 degree centigrade. This thermodynamic principle of decreasing temperature is universally employed for producing low temperatures in all air refrigeration systems. The essential parts of an air expansion refrigeration system are shown in the figure 1.5. So here we shall start with the compressor. In the compressor, it sucks the atmospheric air and the air is compressed. Due to compression, what happens? 1 atmospheric air is compressed up to 5 atmospheric pressure, and when that is compressed, its temperature also increases. Here we only require the increase in pressure, not in increase in temperature. That's why that hot air is supplied to some heat exchanger, where cooling takes place by giving up its heat to the cooling medium. Here we have shown cooling medium as water. Water entry and exit are shown there in the heat exchanger. Then the temperature of air is reduced back to the original air supply temperature to the compressor, but pressure is still 5 atmosphere, and that air is taken to the expander, and in the expander what happens, that air is expanded and up to 1 atmosphere. During that time, you know that pressure and temperature are directly proportional to each other, so there will be drop in temperature, and that air temperature drops, and that cooled air is supplied to the refrigerated space in the coil, which absorbs the surrounding heat and becomes hot air, and that is supplied to the compressor. In this system, we have shown it is a closed system, so same is air is circulated again and again. And you might have noticed here, expander and compressor are connected by a common shaft. The intention is that during expansion the work output is there, and for compression work input is required. Therefore they are both shaft have a common shaft with each other. In that way we can accomplish work output as well as work input. Next, cooling by throttling. So this is another method of producing cooling effect. The arrangement is as shown in the figure. So there is one refrigerated space, and at the bottom you can see a porous plug which is connected with the high pressure gas pipeline, and this porous plug is nothing but nozzle. When a high pressure air or gas is supplied through this nozzle, then throttling takes place, throttling or expansion. And you know that during throttling process, enthalpy before throttling is equal to enthalpy after throttling, and for real gases there will be decrease in temperature, and that can be used for producing cooling effect. During throttling process there is no change in enthalpy. The real gases decrease in temperature after throttling. The figure 1.6 shows a simple refrigeration system based upon this principle. Joule Thomson performed a series of experiments using the porous plug at the same initial temperature T1 and pressure P1, but with a different downstream pressure. He found that the temperature T2 changes as shown on TP diagram, figure 1.7, with a constant enthalpy curve. The maximum temperature point on the curve is called inversion point. Joule Thomson coefficient is given by mu is equal to delta T divided by delta P bracket H, which means at constant enthalpy. So Joule Thomson has conducted several experiments. Based on his experimental observation results, he has plotted a graph of a temperature versus pressure. Then you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 point. So there is a middle point or a topmost point with highest temperature. That is called an inversion point. And to the left, it is a heating cooling region, and to the right, heating region. So temperature, what happens? To the right side of the inversion point, there will be increase in temperature. On the other hand, to the right side, there will be decrease in temperature. So based on this one, he has given one coefficient called Thomson coefficient of a coefficient, and the value is given by delta T delta P, keeping a enthalpy constant. Okay, next we shall take up a steam jet refrigeration. So this is another method of producing cooling effect. Boiling temperature of water can be decreased by reducing the pressure on it. So you know that pressure and temperature are directly proportional to each other. So when you reduce the pressure, automatically temperature gets reduced. So this concept is used here. Here actually what happens, you know that boiling point of water at 1 atmosphere pressure is 100 degrees centigrade. It can be reduced to up to 6.5 centimeter of water, and water can evaporate at or boil at 10 degrees centigrade. This is true that at mean sea level the boiling point of water is taken as 100 degrees centigrade, but if you go as higher and higher altitude, the heat required, temperature required for boiling gets reduced. In Himalaya, even at 25-30 degrees centigrade around, the water boils. So it is dependent upon pressure on the surface of the liquid. Okay, figure 1.8 shows the water is filled in the beginning in a container known as a flash chamber or evaporator. So in the next slide it is shown So here you can see the working principle of a steam jet refrigerator. Here you can see one chamber that is called a flash chamber or evaporator where water is contained, and there is a refrigerated space, and water from the chilled water from the evaporator is pumped to the refrigerated space through some pipeline surrounding that area, and there the heat exchange between hot air particles and the chilled water takes place, and water becomes warm water, and that is taken back to the evaporator where it is sprayed using the several nozzles, spray header, it is called spray header, and that is sprayed back to the water in the evaporator chamber. And here there is a makeup water arrangement. So makeup water arrangement, because some water particles are lost due to evaporation. So in order to keep a constant level of water in the evaporator, some outside water supply is made automatically. That is called a makeup water by using some float valve or such arrangement. And at the top you can see there is an ejector. Ejector is nothing but fitted with a steam nozzle, and it is open to the evaporated chamber at the top, and at the other end you can find a condenser. So here you can use a waste steam that is available in a nuclear or a thermal power plant that can be conveniently used. So when a steam is passed through the nozzle, its pressure drops, and because of a drop in pressure there will be vacuum created in the entire space. Because of vacuum, what happens? The water particles present in the evaporated chamber, they try to evaporate. So in order to evaporate, they have to acquire the latent heat of evaporation. So what they do, they suck the heat from surrounding water particles, and the water particles at the surface level will acquire latent heat and they evaporate. On the other hand, the water particles below that layer, the top surface will be chilled, and some water particles escape along with the steam particles, and they enter into the condenser where steam is cooled down before letting it off to the surrounding. So in this way this system works, and you can get the cooling effect. So we shall check our level of learning through some multiple choice questions. First question: air expansion refrigerator works on the principle of isentropic expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal expansion. So which is the principle just now we have discussed? So answer is isentropic expansion. Okay. Second, throttling is a process of no change in entropy, enthalpy, none of the above. During throttling process, what will not change? What parameter will not change? It is enthalpy. Answer is B. Okay. On TP curve for throttling process, the inversion point is a minimum temperature point, maximum temperature point, none of the above. So just imagine that TP curve. So it is the highest temperature point. Therefore, it is answer B, maximum temperature point. Okay. We shall take up question number 4. The boiling point of water can be changed by increasing pressure on it, decreasing pressure on it, maintaining constant pressure on it, both A and B. What is your answer? This is option 4, both A and B. Okay, fifth question. In steam jet refrigeration, the chilled water is produced in a condenser, refrigerated space, evaporator. So just recall your learning. So it is a flash chamber or evaporator. So option C. Again, I would like to inform you, please go through these standard textbooks in an elaborated fashion. These topics are covered, and you can enhance and enrich your knowledge in a suitable manner, so that it is helpful for a better understanding of this subject. Okay, with this we shall conclude. Thank you one and all.